Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. For the next 3 weeks, we'll be learning about the slow cooker. And not just all slow cookers, but in particular, we'll be learning about the slow cooker with the brand name Crock Pot. When I say slow cooker, I'm referring to all appliances like this, and when I say Crock Pot, I'm referring to a specific brand of slow cooker. This class, entitled Rock the Clock, Crock, will meet 3 Mondays, today, September 18th, and September 25th. Same time, 6:30 p.m., same place here at the Cardington Community Center. Each session will begin with prayer, and each module will have a scripture-based theme. Every Monday, you will receive some free gifts, all related to your slow cooker cooking. In the last and final session, you'll receive a free crock pot and a pantry starter kit. Here's what we'll be covering today. We'll start with opening prayer with Pastor Adam. And this will be an opportunity afterwards that we'll be able to sample some tasting meals that have been prepared by members of our church using a slow cooker to prepare them. When we get done eating, we'll talk about the objectives for this class session. We'll go into detail about how the slow cooker works, some slow cooker safety tips, the method called the 5-ingredient method, some general cooking times, give you some free gifts before you leave, and then we'll dismiss. Pastor Adam, let's begin with a prayer. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31. Some objectives for our program entitled Rock the Crock. You're going to learn how to prepare existing recipes for the slow cooker and create your own recipes for the slow cooker. Let's take a moment, do a quick survey, and ask you to contribute. What would you like to learn in these next 3 classes? I'm going to write them on a whiteboard, and we'll refer back to them on our last class session to make sure we got them all covered. The first slow cooker was developed to steep dry beans in the 1960s. This has evolved into the current appliance. This picture is for the Crock Pot brand device, and there are 3 parts to the slow cooker, as you can see. The first part is an outside case, and this case is made of metal and has heating coils which are covered and contained in that case. These coils heat the food to cook it. The second part is an inner container. The inner container, called the crock, is heated by the indirect heat from the coils to about 180 to 300 degrees. The heat simmers the ingredients inside the crock over a period of several hours until it's thoroughly cooked. And the third part is the lid. The lid holds in the steam that's released from the food as the food cooks. The condensation from the steam makes a vacuum seal between the lid and the rim of the crock, which adds moisture to the food and helps with the cooking. You have to have that lid. Here's a picture of a 6-quart manual crock pot. There are settings on the front of the crock pot, as shown here: off, low, high, and warm. If the crock pot has a timer on the front, the slow cooker will automatically switch to a warm setting to keep it at the proper temperature after it is cooked, as the user programmed it. There are 3 basic sizes of crock pots. The smaller size, which represents 1 to 3.5 quart models, can be used for singles, doubles, and serving warm dips. The medium-sized crock pots in size 3 to 5 quart size are used to feed a small family or for side dishes or appetizers. And then a large size of crock pot is 6 to 7 quarts in size. This is used for big family dinners, entertaining, and potluck suppers, and to make meals in advance with leftovers. Crock-Pot markets several special models, including a Wi-Fi enabled unit that you turn on and off with your phone, a unit with a hinged lid from which you serve on a buffet, a model for soups and stews that has a stirrer installed in the lid, a casserole dish size, a single-hand carrier version, and a 5-in-1 cooker. Is anyone here currently using a crock pot? What size do you use? Crock pots are safe to leave unattended, and the base may get hot when it's cooking, but this is not hazardous. You should fill your crock pot at least half to 3/4 full for best results. If I am home, I cook on high for the first hour, and then I finish the rest of the cooking time on low in order to get the cooking temperature up quickly. Always remember your meats cook differently. So chicken and pork tenderloin cook the fastest. Meat with connective tissue and fat and bone-in meats will take longer. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, all bacteria are killed at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. What that means to you is don't open the lid while the temperature is building up in the unit. You should always follow the cooking times, and if you do need to open the lid, you must add additional cooking time, or about 20 minutes more each time you open the lid. Don't put the outside case in the water, and you should only use your crock pot for cooking, not for reheating your food. Sometimes you don't have time for a recipe, or sometimes you just have leftovers to use up as ingredients. So a simple formula can help you put together a slow cooker meal. A good slow cooker meal has these basic ingredients. Protein of a quantity about 1 pound. What are some ingredients you could use in the category of protein? I could suggest a beef chuck roast, canned white beans, bone-in chicken thigh. Those are some examples. You can write them on your workbook now under the words protein 1 pound. The second ingredient is vegetables, and there uses and requires about 2 cups in your recipe. What are some ingredients you could include in this category? Maybe some combinations of vegetables, perhaps. You can write these in below the words vegetables, 2 cups. But I could recommend some combinations such as onion, carrot, and new potatoes. Or tomatoes, onions, and yellow squash. Or butternut squash, cauliflower, and olives. Or onions, broccoli, green peas. Or corn, bell pepper, sweet potatoes. The third ingredient is liquid, which uses about 2 cups. What are some ingredients you could include in this category? You can write these down underneath the words liquids, 2 cups. But I would suggest beef broth, vegetable broth, diced tomatoes and their juice, coconut milk, beer, the next ingredient is herbs, and that means it would use about 2 tablespoons each. Some ingredients that you could include in this category might be thyme and parsley, oregano, rosemary, cumin, basil, chili powder, cilantro. And the fifth ingredient is flavor enhancers, or about 2 tablespoons of this. Some ingredients that you could include in this category include tomato paste, grated Parmesan, lemon or lime, for example. So let me restate all those 5 ingredients: protein, vegetables, liquids, herbs, and flavor enhancers. Let's break into groups now to create a slow cooker recipe using the 5 ingredient method. Make sure your group names your recipe a catchy name so that others will want to make it too. I wanted to offer you some general cooking times in your crock pot so that when you're making your recipes and creating new ones, you'll know how long to cook them. In general, side dishes, desserts, and dips are usually less than 4 to 6 hours when cooking. Meats, roasts, stews take longer, and they'll usually cook from anywhere between 6 to 10 hours. That's on low generally. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us at our first session of Rock the Crock. Tonight, we'd like to give you a gift to inspire you to use the slow cooker to create new dishes for you and your family. Please accept these slow cooker liners to use as a foundation for your slow cooker. They sure make cleaning up a lot easier. Next week, you'll receive 3 cooking utensils for your recipe creations and a pack of recipe cards. And next week, please bring your favorite recipes in because we're going to talk about how to layer those in your slow cooker. Have a good week, and we'll see you on the 18th at 6:30 here at the Cardington Community Center. Pastor Adam, will you end our session tonight with a prayer?